The actions of the United Front Work Department are often misunderstood because they do not look like traditional espionage. It's not primarily about stealing secrets. It's about shaping environments, social, political, economic, and cultural, so that resistance to Beijing's interests is neutralized before it even becomes visible. As documented elsewhere, the United Front Work Department functions as the CCP's, the Chinese Communist Party's, primary mechanism for projecting power into open societies, as Peter mentioned, particularly through diaspora communities, civil society organizations, business networks, academia, and local politics. It's not separate from other malign activities, it enables them. This is where the wider picture becomes clear. Foreign interference in elections, which Canadians have heard about through the Hogue Inquiry, does not happen in isolation, nor do incidents of transnational repression, illicit political financing, or disinformation campaigns. These activities are connected by a common infrastructure of influence, one that the United Front helps build and maintain over years, sometimes decades. Cheryl's report identifies more than 2,000 organizations across democratic countries, including Canada, that have demonstrable links to the United Front system. These organizations often appear legitimate, independent, and community-focused. In many cases, their leaders may not even view themselves as acting on behalf of a foreign state, but the effect is the same. Party narratives are normalized, critics are marginalized, and democratic institutions are quietly conditioned to accommodate Beijing's sensitivities. This conditioning has real consequences for Canadians. As reporting from MLI and others has shown, transnational repression is not abstract. It affects people's daily lives. Students afraid to speak freely, activists harassed or surveilled, families threatened through relatives overseas. The United Front Work Department plays a central role in identifying, monitoring, and mobilizing pressure against those deemed politically unacceptable. At the same time, these influence networks intersect with other national security threats. As I noted at a previous press conference, foreign interference now overlaps with money laundering, elite capture, cyber operations, and organized crime, creating a hybrid threat environment that Canada's legal and institutional frameworks were not designed to handle. This is not conjecture. CSIS has publicly warned that threats to Canada's national security have intensified, and that the scale and simultaneity of these threats are unprecedented in our history. Yet our response remains fragmented. Canada still lacks a fully implemented foreign influence transparency regime. Beneficial ownership registries remain incomplete, facilitating tens of billions of dollars in illicit financial flows annually, flows that can intersect with foreign state influence and coercion. Investigations are routinely impeded by legal constraints that were designed for a different era and a different threat model. What the United Front shows us is that this is not about one department, one report, or one scandal. It's about a sustained strategic effort by a foreign authoritarian state to exploit the openness of our society while remaining largely below the threshold of traditional enforcement. None of this is an argument against engagement with Chinese Canadians. In fact, the opposite is true. Failing to distinguish between the CCP and the Chinese diaspora harms the very communities most affected by interference. Transparency, education, and accountability are essential, not only for national security, but Canada's prosperity and Canada's democracy. The activities we are discussing today are not the tip of a hypothetical iceberg. They are part of a documented pattern supported by years of investigative journalism, academic research, and government reporting. The question is no longer whether this is happening. The question is whether Canada is prepared to respond with the seriousness that the evidence demands.